I'm now with Peter Holder on the Quantum Sportscars Club stand at the Classic Restoration Show 2024. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Now, can you give me a little bit of history about Quantum Sportscars, please?
Right, Quantum Sportscars started off in the 80s. It's been well established since then. Started off doing fiberglass monocoque sports cars based on a Fiesta. Latterly, it's changed hands a couple of times until we got it about 10 years ago possibly. We're making the Quantum Extreme, which is a 7 style car. In the meantime, as a fiberglass specialist, we've been making body shells for a company called NEC, which was local to us, and building the replica. The chap running that decided to retire, and we had a shop full of moulds, so it made sense for us to buy the project from him. So we bought it as a going concern with orders and the order books and everything. There was a few issues with it we thought we could correct to bring it into the sort of Quantum Stadium, bring it in properly into the...
To your standard,
Yeah, so there's been a lot of modifications on it. So the body shells changed slightly, the body shells changed a lot, to be honest. The chassis we've changed to bring it back into line with what we think it should be, to get the geometry correct and crash worthiness and stuff like that. So it's really a new car, although we've made it so that the old body fits on the new chassis, the new body fits on our new chassis, and the old body fits on... Yeah, the bodies and chassis are interchangeable.
Well, that sounds great. And of course it's all Mazda, isn't it? MX5 parts, isn't it? Engine and chassis.
Yes, the power plant frame from the Mazda unbolts from the bottom of the Mazda shell, and you're left with the whole running gear in one piece. Our semi-space frame drops onto the top of that to make a stiff rolling chassis, and then the body bolts on top. I mean, it's quite simple, and we've made a lot of effort to make it easy to build. So there's no oval holes, all the holes are round and the bolts go straight through. So it's very important to us to make it an easy car to work on, an easy car to build, and everything you need that doesn't come from us will come from the Mazda.
Well, looking at the chassis, I mean, it's a very rigid chassis, really well made, isn't it? You've really done a good job with that. And the engine, what type engine is it?
It's the Mazda MX5, so anything from a 1.6 up to the 1.8 VVT that was in the Mark 2.5. So it's based on the Mazda Mark 1, the 2 and the 2.5.
Right, okay.
And any of those will fit on our chassis.
So the actual model we've got over here with the body on, it does resemble something like an Aston Martin.
Right. When we first started, and when we took on the replica, the idea was that it looks like an Aston Martin DBR1. There are compromises with the styling of it, the engine positioning and stuff like that. So there were a few compromises that we thought were maybe a little too much. With the modern day sort of solicitors be involved in car design and stuff like that, we wanted to get away from the Aston Martin look-alike, but still keep some of the design elements. So we've incorporated design elements from different cars of that era. So we've got now a generic 50s sports racing car.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go, isn't it? Yeah. But I mean, the whole thing looks really good. I mean, it's the models, the paintwork and everything looks fantastic.
Thank you. That's not paint, that's gel finish. That's our ultimate kit. The demonstration here, you'll probably see it in a minute when you move the camera.
Right.
It's a representation of what you get as your kit.
Right.
So this is the top spec one with the polished gel coat finish, the flip front, and all the necessary bells and whistles. You can save money on the kit by having an ordinary gel finish ready to prepare yourself, or in grey to be painted. So that'll be a bit cheaper, but then obviously you've got to spend more to get it painted.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is probably about the ultimate kit you're going to get from us.
Yeah.
And it comes in about 9,500.
9,500.
Yeah,
that's very good. Yeah.
That's probably.
I was going to say about 15.
Well, if you want to give us 15, we don't mind.
That's a very good competitive price, that.
Well, we think so. I mean, it was originally conceived as a budget kit.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've taken it a bit above that, but we've managed to do it in such a way that it's still affordable. So somebody who's got a rusty MX5, they could take the working bits that are still on the MX5, bolt it into our body and chassis, and probably, I mean, the example we got here that we've done everything ourselves, I mean, there's no sort of expensive stuff on it, and that we reckon you could have on the road for between 12 and 15,000. I mean, obviously some people spend a huge amount more, and there's some beautiful cars out there. There are some beautiful cars out there, but I mean, realistically, on the road, all tried and tested, probably with a full tank of fuel and road tax for 15,000.
Very good, yeah.
Thank you.
What can you get on the road? Buy a new car for that these days?
You certainly won't get something that looks like it cost £1 million from Bonhams.
Exactly. It's just, it looks good as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. We've spent a lot of time on it.
But when I saw them all, I thought, gosh, I've got to learn something about this. It's an amazing car you've built here. You know, it must have attracted a lot of attention yesterday. It
was very busy yesterday, and lots of positive. I mean, sometimes at kit car shows you get the experts come around and they'll pick it to bits and everything, but you know, the people here are very positive. We've had lots of positive comments, and nobody's found fault with it, which is what we were planning, because we don't think there are any. So
if somebody came to you and said they didn't want to do any of the work themselves, can you do it for them?
We can, but obviously there'll be a cost implication there. I mean, it's quite labour intensive, which is the big thing about a kit car. You can get an awful lot of car for very little outlay if you're prepared to do a lot of the work yourself. Obviously we'll talk. You know, we're reasonable people. But I mean, it is cost effective. Is, you know, if we ended up building it, it'd be quite expensive. We're probably looking at 25,000-30,000, which is probably more than a lot of people want to pay. But at the same token, I mean, some of the early cars that have been built on the old replicas before all our updates, some of those are selling now for in the 20s.
But I suppose the best thing about it is, as you say, get your old MX5 out and take everything off it and get do the chassis up and put everything back in, and away you go. You know, it's probably more fun doing it yourself, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the thing with the MX5 is they're a brilliant car, but they have this problem with rust, and the bits that rust are the bits we don't use. So you can have a completely rotted out MX5, and the bits that we use are probably still all right. You know, you maybe have to buy a new wishbone or have the rear subframe repaired, but the majority of the stuff that we use generally survives.
Well, I mean, you can imagine it kind of, one day on your drive you've got an old rusty MX5, the next day you've got that.
Probably take a bit more in the day, but
But you know where I'm coming from. I mean, the difference is amazing, isn't it?
I mean, the idea is it's quick to build. I mean, the day before yesterday, in fact, no, the day before that, so it's the second day, that looked like that. So, I mean, you know, if you've got a couple of hours to put into it, you can achieve quite a lot in a couple of hours. But obviously, once you've got something that looks like a car, then it's the trimming and the wiring and stuff like that really takes the time. But if you're doing it yourself and you can sort of, you know, come down and potter for a couple of hours in the evening or at the weekends, and it comes together quite quickly. So the idea is that you buy the complete kit, but we supply it in two separate halves. So it's stage payment, so you pay the first part of it, and you get the chassis, and then you strip down your MX5 and get the chassis all built up, ready, and then when you're ready, you give us a shout, and we'll make the body, and the body will go straight on. That saves you having to store the body.
Because it's a good idea.
It's a very difficult thing to store a body.
You don't want to leave that hanging around anyway, do you?
Well, particularly if you're trying to build it in a single lock-up, or sometimes, I mean, if it's not supported on a chassis, it's possible for it to go out of shape. And once it's heat cycled a couple of times, like in a garage where it's cold at night and warm during the day, sometimes they can twist. So it's easier to wait until you're ready for it and then put the body straight on. And that way it's stage payment, so you only pay, you pay 2 instalments there.
Very good.
But your body, when you get it, it's not damaged, it's not tweaked, and it's ready to go straight on.
Well, it's brilliant. I think it's a great job. I think you must be proud of it, and thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you much.